Hello to all and happy Monday to everybody. Welcome to the latest Breath of Fresh Air Shortie with your host Charles Taylor. On this one, and this one's a little bit overdue, but I'm glad to be able to get on here and do this one. But on this episode, we're going to talk about Major League Baseball's home run numbers and what exactly is going on when it comes to the home runs being so high. So, let's start with just simple stats. In 2017, that was the year where the most homers were hit during the season as a league. This year, 2019, it looks like that record is going to be broken. And back in around June or July, the pace was supposed to be shattered by in excess of 500 home runs almost. So there's been a lot of conversation about juice baseballs and what's going on with these numbers. Well, in my personal opinion, this is what I think is going on. The baseballs, and maybe there's some adjustments and stitching might be a little bit tighter or whatever the case, but I don't think it's juice necessarily. I think, honestly, the whole juice baseball argument is tired. It's old, it's weak, and it's lazy, as a matter of fact, because I don't think if you're going to go and say that the baseballs are juiced, then you're not doing enough research anyway. You're just out here just trying to have a hot take or some hot opinion to get people talking that has no substance to it. But I think there are a lot of factors that go into why the baseballs are flying out of the yard. One is the way that it's being managed to the players by the managers. Of course, with all the analytics and all the numbers that are going on, the managers and the people in the front office are trying to find the best way to interpret those numbers. And in doing that, they're basically kind of coaching them to hit the ball in the air. So there's a lot about launch angles. There's a lot about the uppercut swing, because if you can get the uppercut swing, then that's going to put more lift into the ball. And with today's ballparks, more on those ballparks in a minute, but with today's ballparks, if you get it in the air and it catches a good gust of wind, it could potentially fly out. So with launch angle, uppercut swings, exit velocity, there's a lot of those factors that are being put into why there are more home runs. Now, if you are going to have more home runs, there's got to be a downside to it, and that would come in the way of strikeouts. Strikeouts have been pretty high too. So it's a boom or bust thing, just like it's been with pretty much every other sport. It's either the big home run or the strikeout. There's not a lot of in between. Not a lot of hitting for singles, doubles, or even triples, or laying down a bunt against a shift. It's going to be home run or bust. That's how everything is being taught, and baseball is not the only sport where you see that mentality. Also, you want to talk about something being juiced? I think the ballparks are juiced personally. And I say that because when you look at the ballparks, go back to around the late 80s, early 90s, when you had a lot of multi-purpose ballparks that were being used. I'll go down the list just off the top of my head. Remember, Three River Stadium in Pittsburgh, Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia, Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati, Fulton County Stadium in Atlanta, the Kingdome in Seattle, the Astrodome in Houston, the Coliseum in Oakland, where the Oakland A's still play to this day. Those stadiums were multi-purpose, prestigious stadiums where the dimensions were pretty well rounded off, and to get it to center field, I mean, these were average around 410. I mean, you had to really put a jolt into these hits to get the ball out of there. The old Tiger Stadium in Detroit was 440, or in excess of 440 to straightaway center. But now when you look at these ballparks, there are a lot of dimension changes, and if you can hit the ball, let's take a couple of baseball parks right now. Let's look at Yankee Stadium in the Bronx, Fenway Park in Boston. If you go right field on those, it's literally 250 down the right field line. Okay, I'm exaggerating, of course, but it's a very short porch, and if you get a line drive hit, it's possible it could go out. And you look at some of these other ballparks, Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia, SunTrust Park in Atlanta now, Globe Life Park here in Arlington, Texas. Of course, the Texas Rangers will be moving to a new ballpark next year, but balls fly out of that ballpark as well. And I mean, we can go on and on and on. Busch Stadium in St. Louis is another one. And do I really even have to bring up Coors Field in Denver? We know balls jump out of there. So I think there are a lot of other factors besides the ball being juiced as to why these home run numbers are up the way they are. And another thing, and this is the most important thing, no matter what ballpark you're playing in, no matter how much you coach exit velocity, launch angle, and uppercut swing, at the end of the day, and no matter how strong a player might be, at the end of the day, the baseball player, the hitter, still has to hit a circular small object with a glorified stick. That takes a lot of hand-eye coordination for that to happen. So, if you don't acknowledge that, then you're just taking away any of the credit from the hitters. And Justin Verlander came out, the pitcher for the Houston Astros. He came out and he said, yes, he thinks the ballparks are juiced. Now, if anybody is going to have the right to make that argument, it would be Justin Verlander. But then again, he is a pitcher. So, of course, if you're a pitcher and you're getting balls being popped off of you, then, of course, you're going to be upset about it. So, I just think there's a lot of different factors there contributing to these home run numbers. And the whole baseball being juiced thing is just ridiculous to me. It's a tired, old argument. Oh, and by the way, for this view, Patrick Brackett, who still got to do a Shortie, he agrees with me on all this, and he said that I can co-sign for him on this. So he sees it the same way I do. And I would like to see what the rest of y'all think about this opinion and what you think about the baseball home run numbers being up as well. So that is what I'm breathing on. Let's hear from you. Of course, we got the Facebook pages, YouTube pages. You can also get it on Twitter and LinkedIn. Check it out. Let me know what you think. And I will be back later on in the week with another Shortie. You guys take care and happy Monday.